Hello, my dear sunshines. How are you all? I hope you all are doing really very well. In our today's class, we are going to start our chapter number 5, and the name of this chapter is There Can Be Only One. Actually, this chapter is neither a full-time chapter or neither a poem. It is in the form of drama, or we can say it is in the form of play. Okay, so the name of this play is There Can Be Only One. It means in this play, you are going to see there is nothing two or three. Okay, there is only one thing. Okay, now what is that one thing? This thing you are going to discover in this chapter. Okay, now be ready. What you have to do? What comes to your mind when you read the name of the play? Try and complete the following graphic organizer. Okay, my dear student, when you hear, okay, when you hear the name, when you read the name of the play, okay, when you hear the name of this play, okay, the name of this play is There Can Be Only One. Okay, so after hearing this title, what comes in your mind instantly? Okay, you have to write all those things which comes in your mind instantly by hearing the name of this play. You have to write here. Okay, you can see name of the play, so you have to write here. Okay, first thing what you have to write, three things come to your mind. Three things came to your mind upon hearing the name of the play. So the first three things which instantly came into your mind when you listen the name of this chapter. Okay, and after, three things you are looking for, three features you are looking for. Okay, here you have to write what are the three features you are searching in this chapter. Okay, now three languages features you expect to be in use. Okay, so you have to complete this things in your own. Okay, now come with me and let's see. This is drama. So in drama, many characters are present. In this drama, there are two characters. Okay, first character name is Mary. Mary is a 47-year-old successful professional woman. Okay, and the second character is Barry, 62-year-old shopkeeper. Mary, a businesswoman, age 47. Barry, 62-year-old person having a shop. Okay, now we are going to see setting of the play, on which background this play is based. This play is set in an antiquated comic book store. This play is totally set up in antiquated bookstore, means a bookstore where antique books are kept. Okay, time modern day. Okay, the play takes place in one scene. Okay, so this whole play is captured in one scene. Now, Act 1, Scene 1. A dusty, dirty antique bookstore. Okay, ribbon light streams into the store from a skylight, exposing the dust and uncleanliness of the store. Okay, so the scene starts with an antique bookshop, and that antique bookshop having a dirt everywhere. Okay, having a dirt everywhere means this antique bookstore is not cleaned. On the left of the stage is a long bookshelf filled with comic books in no discernible order. Superman, X-Men, and Batman are spread out in no particular order. Opposite the large bookshelf is a long glass counter stood behind the counter. Okay, so in this book, this is a bookstore. So here many bookshelves you can see. Okay, at on the left side, okay, on the left side there is a bookshelf, okay, which is full of many comic books, but those comic books are not kept in a serial number. Okay, you all know, my dear student, in any library and in any bookstore, okay, all books are kept in serial numbers. Okay, you can't just go and keep anything at any number. No, if you are visiting a library and if you are visiting a bookstore, specifically antique bookstore, okay, then all books are kept in a serial number. Okay, so here no serial number is followed. Okay, you can see the so you can see the books related with Superman, X-Men, and Batman. They are kept here and there. I hope, my dear student, you all know about these characters. Okay, many famous Hollywood movies are also made on them. Okay, and opposite to the left side of that large bookshelf there is a glass counter present. Okay, now the scene starts with Barry, a 62-year-old antique book shopkeeper. Barry, a man wearing old clothes, in particular a stain covered old tank top. So this is the description of Barry, the shopkeeper. Okay, this shopkeeper is wearing a old clothes. Okay, at the rear is the front door of the shop. Barry is reading a comic. Okay, and Barry was sitting at the door of the bookshop and he was reading a book. He was reading a comic book. Okay, because this antique bookstore belonged to a comic book store. The door opens, the antiquated sound of a bell ringing sounds to indicate the door has been opened. Okay, and when Barry was reading the book, immediately at that time, the door of the antique bookshop was opened. Okay, and it signaled that somebody visited this antique bookstore. Barry doesn't raise his head from his reading. A woman entered. She is dressed in a suit and carries a briefcase. Okay. Although Barry know that someone visited his store, but he was not interested. Okay, to welcome his guest. Okay. So in his bookstore shop, in his antique bookstore shop, a lady entered. Okay, and that lady was wearing a suit and she was also carrying a briefcase in her hand. She looks like a mother buying for her child, completely out of place in a comic book store. Okay, and while looking at his appearance, it appeared as this is a mother. Okay, and this mother came here. Okay, this mother came in this antique bookstore for doing some shopping. Okay, for buying some books for her child. She looked at a long bookshelf for a limited time and turned to face Barry. He doesn't raise his head. He doesn't raise his head. So that lady first of all took a look in this whole antique bookshop. Okay, but still Barry didn't try to look who visited his store. Mary. Okay, now that lady, Mary. Okay, the name of that lady is Mary. Mary said, "Good morning." Barry turns another page. He pretend not to hear. Okay, so Mary said, "Good morning," but Barry heard that this lady is greeting me. Still, he didn't raise his head. Mary. I said, "Good morning." Barry pauses as he turns a page. He doesn't look up. He turns over the page. Mary steps up to the counter in front of Barry. So Mary again said, "I said good morning." Okay. Still Barry didn't look up. But right now he paused. Okay. He paused the page. He paused at the page where he was reading. Okay. Mary. Good morning. I am here to buy a comic book. Barry stops turning and looks at her like she has caught him on the toilet. Okay. So Mary again said, "Good morning." Okay, "Good morning, sir. I came here. I visited your store to buy a comic book." Okay, and when this lady said those lines, immediately Barry looked in her direction like she was caught. Okay, like he was caught by her. He was caught by her in a toilet room. Okay, Barry. Really, in a comic book shop, I would never have guessed. Okay, so Barry said, "Okay, you want to buy a comic book in a comic book store? Oh, I wish I was wrong." Nervous. I am sorry, but I'm looking for. Okay, so here Mary was feeling very nervous, and he said in a shaking, "I'm sorry, but I'm looking for." Okay, and she paused. Barry, something for your son? Okay, why she paused? Because his further sentence was completed by Barry. Barry said, "Okay, you want to buy something for your son." Mary, sternly in control. "No, I hear you have a Spider-Man #1. Okay, so Mary tried to control herself. He said, "No, I came here to buy a book named as Spider-Man #1. So Barry said, "Yes, the last one in existence." Okay, so Barry said, "Yes, I know about Spider-Man #1. This is the last book in the series of Spider-Man, and it has only one copy of that book. And I have only one copy of that book." Mary, "The last one. Wow." So Mary said, Mary was very excited. Okay, Mary was very excited when she heard that this shopkeeper has a last piece of that book. Okay, so Mary said, "Okay, you have the last piece of that book. Wow, it's really awesome." Barry, well, strictly speaking, there are two left in the world, but one of them has been lost for over 30 years, so our copy is generally regarded as the last one left in the world. So Barry said, see, miss, actually, Spider-Man #1 has two books in original, okay, but one copy was lost 30 years ago. That's why the copy which we have is considered as the last piece of this series. So Mary said, I see. So Mary said, okay, I see. Barry said, but you don't want to buy it. Okay, so Barry said, okay, ma'am, but I think you can't buy it or you don't need to buy it. Mary said, I don't. Why you are saying so? I came here to buy a book. Then why am I not going to buy that book? Barry, patronizing. No, for your son, buy some up-to-date comics pointing on the shelf behind you. Okay, so Barry, in a helping gesture, okay, while offering a helping gesture, he said, ma'am, you have to purchase some new modern generation books for your son. Mary, thank you, but I am here to purchase Spider-Man #1. Okay, so Mary said, thank you so much, sir, but I still want to buy Spider-Man #1 book for my son. Barry said, okay, well, I didn't want to do this, but you can't because you can't afford it. Okay, so Barry said, okay, no problem. If you want to buy it and you are rigid at your decision that you want to buy that series of Spider-Man, but I want to tell you, it was very expensive. Okay, it is very, very expensive. It is the last Spider-Man #1 left in the world and it is very expensive. Okay. And why that book was very expensive? Because it is considered as the last copy of Spider-Man #1 series. Okay. Mary said, I would expect nothing less if it truly is unique. Mary said, yes, I came here because I didn't expect anything less. Okay. If you are saying right that this copy is regarded as a last piece copy, then I'm going to buy it. Barry, oh, it's unique, all right, unique to the tune of 100,000 pounds. So right now, Barry told the exact amount of that book, and that book costed 100,000 pounds. Okay, pound in the currency of European countries. Okay, Mary, okay, may I say it? Barry, okay, what? Mary stands firm and bold. Okay, so Mary said, okay, so it costs this much amount. Okay, if you don't feel any, if you don't feel if you don't feel any hesitation, can you show me the book? Okay, so Barry said, okay, you want to see that book? Okay, Barry, but you know, I like your persistence and I haven't looked at it for a while. Keep it locked up in a safe in case some loony tries to burn it or something. I will just get it from Outback so we can both have a look. Okay. So Barry said, okay, you know, as I already told you, this is the last piece of a Spider-Man #1 series. That's why I kept that book in my safe case. Okay. You have to wait for a minute and I'm just going to bring back my book. And after saying this, Barry exited the store. Mary picks up the comic Barry has been reading. She flicks through it and throws it back on the counter. Okay. So when Barry exited, that store, bookstore, and he went to buy that Spider-Man #1 series book. Immediately at that time, Mary picked that book which Barry was reading. Okay. Mary, now I see who read this trash. Enter Barry stage right. Okay. And when Barry took that book in her hand, immediately he threw that book, okay, in the dustbin. And Mary said, now I see how this person is going to read this book. Okay. And at that time, Barry enters in the shop. Barry is holding the comic. It is sealed in a protective plastic casing. He places it carefully on the counter. Okay. And Barry again came back. Barry again enters in the antique bookshop. He was holding a book which is covered in a plastic wrapping. Okay. Barry, behold the legendary last surviving copy of a Spider-Man #1. Mary, Alizli, the last copy. So Barry said, okay, lady, take. This is the last copy which is remained at our store named as Spider-Man #1. So Mary said, are you sure this is the last copy? Barry smiles, the last known copy. Mary moves to pick it up. Barry stops her. Okay, so Barry, having a smile on her face, having a smile on his face, he said, yes, the last known copy. Okay, and when Mary was going to touch that book, immediately Barry stopped her. Barry, no, 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 no. What do you think you are doing? I want to have a look at it, okay? And Barry said, no, 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 Mary, you can't touch it, okay? So Mary said, okay, so what is the problem in this? Okay, I want to have a look on this book. Barry, you can see it just fine from there. How much is it again? So Barry said, no, you can't touch this book, but you can have a look at some distance, okay? So Mary asked, can you please tell me the exact amount that you want for this book? Barry, 100,000 pounds. So Barry said, I want 100,000 pounds. Mary said, Mary, looking closely at the comic. Wow. Okay. So Mary having a close look at that comic book and she said, wow. Barry, yes, expensive. It would be more a lot. Okay. So Barry said, I already told you it is very expensive. Mary, really? Are you sure it is really expensive? Barry said, as long as the other copy is out there, even though it's been lost for years, this comic is not unique. Okay? Okay, so Barry said, yes, this book, okay, this book is known as the last piece of the copy because the first copy is lost for 30 years. Okay? Barry said, not unique. Okay? So when Barry said this thing, that when somebody found that lost piece of copy, then at that time this copy not remained as a unique piece. Okay, so Mary asked, are you sure at that point of time this book not remained as a unique? Barry said, as you have pointed out, this cannot be called the last one in the world. The last Superman #1 comic is now worth over £1 million. Now that truly is the last ever copy. Okay, so Barry said, as I already told you, okay, as I already told you, and as you already pointed out, that this book didn't called as the last piece. Okay, because the last remained piece of this book is cost not only in 100,000 pounds. Okay, it cost in millions in pounds or dollars. Okay. Mary, I'm not interested in Superman. So immediately after learning all this information from Barry's mouth, okay, Mary said, I'm not interested in Spider-Man. Sorry, I'm not interested in Superman. Barry, no, me neither. Too much of a goody two shoes. It is a shame though. So Barry said, similarly like you, I'm also not interested in Superman. Mary not listening really. Mary acting as like she was not interested. She was not interested in listening. Barry, okay. So he was just he just said, really? Barry, well now that comic is stored in some vault in a bank or someone's personal safe, buried deep in their basement. It will probably not see the light of day again. Okay. So immediately Barry said, you know what, okay, that piece of book which cost us millions of cost millions in money, okay, it was kept in a safe place in the bank. Okay. Mary, Mary, I would like to have a closer look at this one, if I may. So Mary said, okay, if you don't have any kind of problem, I want to have a closer look of that book. Okay, Barry, I have already explained that you had to buy. Okay, you would have to buy. As Barry talks, Mary moves her briefcase onto the counter. She opens it and turns it towards Barry. Okay, so immediately Barry said, as I already told you, if you want to have a look on this book, okay, first of all you have to purchase it. Okay, and when Barry was saying all this thing, immediately Mary turned that briefcase and opened that briefcase in front of Barry. Barry continued it for pause. How much is that? Okay, so Barry was continuously talking with Mary, but immediately he take a pause. Okay, his eyes are wide open, and immediately he asked to Mary, can you please tell me how much is it? Mary, now in complete control, 100,000 pounds in cash. Barry is open-mouthed. He shakes his head in disbelief. Okay, so now Mary understood. Now Mary understood that she has taken the control of this situation. Okay, so immediately she said, okay, 100,000 pounds. Okay, I'm giving you this money in cash. Okay, and after looking such a huge amount of cash in front of his own eye, Barry left open-mouthed and his eyes open wide. Okay, Barry. Okay, not taking his eyes off the money, Barry pushes the comic to Mary. Mary picks the comic up. Barry picks up a stack of money. Mary gazes at the comic with the same love. Barry is gazing at the money. Mary unseals the plastic jacket and slides the comic out. This wakes Barry from his trance. Okay, so Barry said, now you can take this book. Okay, but Barry was not able to remove his eyes for a second from that huge amount of cash. Barry, be careful. I know you just paid all this beautiful money for it, but remember it is unique. Okay, and Barry also added in his words that listen, lady. I know you have bought. Okay, I know you have bought this copy in such a handsome amount of money, but you know what? But remember this thing. This is the last available piece of Superman. Mary, not quite unique. Ha, yes. I suppose we won't go over that again. Is there anything else you want? Mary said, from my point of view, it is not unique. Okay. So Barry said, oh, really? I suppose. Okay. Can you please tell me if it is not unique, then what kind of unique thing you have? No, 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 I'm fine. Holding the unsealed comic. This is all I came for. Okay. So Mary said, no, I'm not just saying this. I'm fine. Okay. Okay. This is all I visit. This is for all I visited your antique bookshop store. Mary, good. Your son will be pleased. I don't have a son. Well, daughter then. Look, I hope you don't mind if I just go and put this money away in my safe. Barry greedily pecks. Okay. So immediately Barry said, okay, ma'am, I hope your son will be going to love this comic book. So Mary said, I don't have a son. So Barry said, okay, if you don't have a son, then you must have a daughter. Okay. And you must have a daughter. Okay. And listen, if you don't mind, just keep this book, and I'm going to take this cash from here. I'm going to keep this cash in a safe place. Barry greedily picks up the still open briefcase, turns and walks out. Exit Barry stage right. Mary takes a deep breath and lovingly strokes the front of the comic. Okay, and after saying this, and taking the briefcase in his hand, Barry hurriedly exit the bookstore. And when Barry exited the bookstore for keeping that money at a safer place, immediately at that time, Mary take a very deep breath. Okay. Mary then tears it up with her hands. She tears the comic into strips and then those strips into smaller pieces. Okay, and after taking a heavy breath, okay, immediately Mary tear all those comic books. Okay, all that comic book pages. Okay, and after when she done with tearing, okay, she tore all those small pages, okay, into many more smaller pieces. Okay, just as she is finishing, Barry crashes back into the shop. Enter Barry stage right now. Okay, when Barry was tearing all the pages of the book, of that comic book, immediately at that time Barry entered in his bookstore, and he was shocked because Mary was tearing 100,000 pounds book with her own hand. Barry shouting, what are you doing? Mary finishes tearing. The small pieces are all over the counter and the floor. Barry is speechless. Okay, now Barry was completely shocked. Okay, he started shouting and he said, oh, you stupid lady, what you are doing? Okay, Mary at that time finished tearing. Okay, and by witnessing such a horrific incident in his front of eye, Barry was left speechless. Barry, but you can't. Barry picks up some of the pieces of paper and they fell through his fingers. Mary stands triumphant. Okay, so Barry said, but you can't do this. You can't tear all those pages. Okay, you can't tear this book. Okay, and Mary was standing victorious, Triumphant means victorious. Mary, do you have a waste basket? So Mary asked, "Do you have a dustbin?" Barry said, "I can't believe you did it." Okay, and Barry was shocked. Okay, he said, "I literally can't believe you tore all these pages." Mary, you just don't get it, do you? Mary leaned towards Barry. Mary said, "You didn't get your lesson. Why I tore all these pages?" Okay, and after saying this, Mary just leaned in the direction of Barry. Mary, now my copy is unique. Board of School Education 83. Barry's eye widen, eye further with a realization of what has happened. Okay. Now Mary is saying, okay, leaning towards the direction of Barry. Mary said, "Now you know what? Now you know what, Barry. This copy is unique. Okay, I have tore these pages into 83 pieces. Okay, now I have a unique book. Okay." Barry was left shocked. Okay, he still can't believe what he saw with his own eye in front of him. "Mary, there can be only one." And Mary said, "There can be only one unique piece, and that unique piece will be mine, not anyone else." Mary turns and leaves the shop to the rear of the stage. Okay, and after saying this, Mary turns and exits the antique shop. Exit Mary. Barry frantically searches through the remnants. Okay, and when Mary exited that bookshop, at that time Barry was frantically searching all those tore pages. Okay, and at that time curtains are for total blackout. Okay. Okay, my dear friend, this play is written by Tom Goddard. Okay, now come with me and let's see the word meanings which we have seen or which we have discussed in this play. Antiquated means outdated or old fashioned in design or style. Antiquated means old fashioned theme, old fashioned things, etc. and etc. Patronizing, displaying a condescending or superior attitude towards other, treating someone as if they are less intelligent or capable. Patronizing means whenever you are providing some helping hand for anyone. Trance, a state of deep absorption or altered consciousness, often characterized by a lack of awareness of one's surrounding. Trance means whenever you have a deep knowledge of anything. Okay. Remnants, small pieces or parts that are left over after the main part have been used or removed. Remnant means the small parts. Okay, the leftover pieces. Remnant means the simple leftover pieces. Blackout, a sudden loss of consciousness or a temporary loss of vision or consciousness. Blackout means for a few moments you lost your consciousness. Okay. Vault, a secure room or compartment for storing valuable items, typically in bank or a secure location. Vault means a safe place. Okay, which is used to keep money and some precious things safe. Persuasion, the act of convincing or influencing someone to do or believe something. Persuasion means you are convincing someone. Okay, so this is all in our play. Okay, now my dear friends, what you have to do, just go thoroughly through this play. Okay, and try to complete all the exercise based on this play. Now I'm taking leave and going to meet with you all in our next class with a new chapter or with a new poem or maybe with a new play. Till then, my dear students, you have to take very good care of yourself. Bye.